Alright, hey guys, I figured that maybe the reason why I have been fortunate enough to survive this encounter with a heart attack was to maybe tell a story and maybe be accountable to everyone who chooses to follow my posts. I wanted to kind of give you an idea of what happened and how all of this came about in the first place. So Saturday, I was supposed to shoot the Richmond Kickers soccer game at 7 o'clock that night. I got here around 2 o'clock in Richmond to get set up, and the rest of the crew for Rush Media showed up around 3. I got here a little early because I kind of had a feeling that the heat and all might be affecting me adversely, so I wanted to kind of get acclimated to the weather and move around a little bit and actually see if that was the case. So anyway, for the most part, everything was cool when we started unloading the gear and running the cameras and the lenses and all up to the platform at City Stadium. It was hot, and so what I ended up doing was taking bottles of water and just drenching myself with that just to keep me cool. So everything seemed to be cool. We got the cameras up and everything was operating. It's basically a 3-man crew. So my job was to basically be the ISO cam. So I would be getting the close-ups of different players, and if there were goals, I was responsible for getting the goal scorer, and then even maybe coming back and getting the goalie and all of that, if for whatever reason they wanted that for the broadcast. Anyway, around 5 o'clock or so is when we were to break. We had an hour break to go get food, rest, all that kind of stuff, before we had to get on cams and on intercoms to basically get prepped for the show, which basically meant that we would be talking to the producer, talking about what our responsibilities were, and all of those things. Anyway, at 5 o'clock when we were sitting at the cameras, I just got very lightheaded, and thankfully I was actually sitting down at the time. I ended up putting my head between my legs and just feeling bad, and I had this pain in my chest. It was kind of like centralized, and I really can't describe it because it wasn't like a sharp pain, but it was significant enough, and I felt like really drained. So after we were given the go-ahead to break, I ended up lying on the platform. Now keep in mind, the platform that I was lying on was outside. Temperature was probably around 96 or so degrees. So I wasn't really doing myself a service, but I felt like if I just kind of lie there for a moment and eat some sugar, because I'm also a type 2 diabetic, so I felt like part of this was the fact that my sugar levels were low. So I ate 2 oranges and some banana bread. None of that helped. I was sitting there. The other guy that was working on the platform with me was trying to help me out. In fact, he got me the food. I had food in a cooler in my car, and he went and got that for me and brought it up to me and asked me if I needed help. And of course, I said, "Nah, I'm fine. I'll be fine." And so he left to go get some food. Well, 30 minutes later, I realized that. So, I'm getting my blood taken. I got you.
156.
Can I see? 156. Finally under 200.
Always a good thing.
Yes.
We like under 200.
Yes, I do too. So anyway, I think I was at the platform and I was basically lying there. Anyway, I decided I needed to do something because I had to go to the bathroom. And so I got up. It was very, very lightheaded, but I saw that there were players on the field, and so I decided that I was going to walk down the platform, which was about 20, 25 steps, let's say, and see if I could get some help to get to the bathroom. Now at City Stadium, the restrooms are actually on the far side from the cameras, but I wasn't trying to go there. I really wanted to go into the locker rooms, which were much closer to me. Anyway, so I ended up going down the field, and then there was an older black gentleman who was walking by, and he asked me how I was doing, and I told him I'm not doing well, and I asked for help. And he turned back around and came back to me and asked me what the problem was. I told him what the problem was and what I was trying to do, and so he ended up helping me get to the locker room to go to the bathroom. And in the process, he was also kind of triaging me and finding out what the situation was. So obviously he was an EMT also, and had dealt with that sort of stuff. He didn't have any equipment, but he strongly suggested that I let him call 911 and bring an ambulance and check to make sure everything was cool. And being my stubborn self, I wanted to still stay, but I agreed to that after I went to the bathroom. I thought the bathroom would help, and obviously I did my thing in the bathroom and it didn't help. And so I was like, okay, well, let's go talk to the EMTs. And so they put me in the ambulance, they took my EKG, and they told me, it's like, well, I'll be honest with you, I think you're having a heart attack right now. So the premise was, I think the first words that came out of my mouth were, damn. Because I was thinking about the previous time and how I really wanted that to be the one and only, but of course that didn't happen. So this became the second time that I've had a heart attack. So get an ambulance. They asked me where I wanted to go, and I was like, I don't really know the area well enough to answer that question. Just, I guess, take me where you want to go. And they brought me to VCU. In the process, before all of that happened, I asked to get my wallet out of my car because I was in the glove compartment and I needed my backpack, which I just have with me for the most part, so I can do or whatever. Anyway, so they got that, locked up my car, and my car's still at the stadium, locked up, and I can't get to it right now. But anyway, they took me to VCU, and it was interesting because I had a utility knife in my backpack, or at least I thought I did, and when I was coming through security, they were actually like literally stopping us from going any further because they wanted to check, and they were telling me what would happen with the utility knife and all of that stuff. So the EMT that was pushing me in was like, we really don't have time for this because you're in the midst of a heart attack. And so she pushed me on through. Got to the room, there were probably about 20 or so people, and through this whole process, from the time that I met up with the gentleman, I was literally, I really couldn't walk on my own. He was helping me keep my balance, and I had my eyes semi-closed most of the time, and I had to rest at certain parts because I was just extremely exhausted. So anyway, I got into the emergency room, about 20-30 people in the room doing all kinds of stuff. I had no idea what was going on, but one of the doctors told me that they were going to do an exploratory procedure to look to see what was happening in my heart, and they had to go up through my right arm to bring the possible stent into that location. So what they found out is that I needed a stent. I had a stent already in my heart from the prior situation, and what happened was they actually had to balloon that out because the blockage was in the same place, and it was a major artery going into the heart, and it was 100% blocked. So literally, if I had waited another, say, 2, 3, 5 minutes or so, the situation could be totally different. I also found out that my blood sugar at the time was almost stroke level at 398, and that wasn't cool either. So the procedure went on, and they put another stent into my heart, into the artery that was going into the heart, and they used it to balloon out the artery so that blood could pass through. Also, what happened was, because it was so close to a branch of the artery that was also going off, they had to actually basically shut that one down because, of course, the main concern was the major artery going into my heart. So with that, I basically have been poked, prodded, given all kinds of medications, and they've restricted the type of food I can eat and how much salt I can have, and they've been monitoring my blood sugars. And when you saw earlier that my blood sugar now is at 156, that's been the lowest it's been in the last 3 days. It was 200 this morning or earlier today, and then 156 now. So I'm very thankful for that. My pulse is normal. My what do you call it? Blood pressure is also good. It's usually around 120/80, somewhere in that neighborhood. I think at one point it bottomed out to around 94/64, which was because of a certain medication that they gave me to kind of slow the heart down, because of the fact that it made the heart is working overtime and still in shock, and they wanted to make sure that the heart would heal better, but in the process it actually made me feel very dizzy and lightheaded, and so they've actually changed to another medication, of which I don't know. Anyway, so that is pretty much where I'm at right now. I'm chilling in, I went out of ICU yesterday and have been in a room with another gentleman for the last day and a half, and hopefully both of us will be out of here tomorrow on the 5th. I have taken some shots of some of the fireworks from the windows here, which is kind of interesting, especially since I don't really celebrate 4th of July, but I figured, you know, for what I wanted to do with this, I thought it might be cool to actually do that. Anyway, so part of this is going to be my accountability to basically myself, to my wife, to my brothers and my relatives, but also to you guys. So I'm thinking, and I think a friend of mine had also posted in one of the things. I haven't even looked at all the messages from you guys, just because of the simple fact of how overwhelming this whole thing has been. I ended up having a good cry spell. Seeing the number of people that have responded to my situation, and a couple people may be coming by tomorrow or on Tuesday to see me, hopefully before I roll out of VCU. And I just wanted to let you all know that I really, really appreciated that, and it really touches me even now. So thank you very much. And so the thought is that I'm going to start doing documentation. I'm not sure if it's all going to be video or audio, but I figure that it's important that everybody kind of go along this journey with me. I have a friend on Facebook who's around my age, who ended up having going into cardiac arrest in February, and he is now currently in a coma, which kind of exacerbates my feeling like, why was I saved a second time from this, and he wasn't. And I know a lot of men in my age bracket and slightly younger dying from heart attacks, and so I figured my road to recovery could help other people avoid this and live more healthy, more healthy lives. Just, I can't think of the other word I wanted to use. So I plan on documenting this, give you an idea of all the drugs that I'll be taking, the food that I'll be eating, the exercise that I'll be doing, and just other things that come into play, things that may be helpful. And I kind of want to incorporate hip-hop into the whole mix of this, because I feel like it's necessary, and maybe, just maybe, it could help younger people to prevent this sort of stuff happening to them when they get into their 40s and 50s and beyond. Because I think part of the problem is that the mortality rate of black men is the worst in the country, outside of maybe Native Americans or indigenous people. We have the lowest rate of life expectancy, and I think a lot of it is basically in how how we maneuver life through what we eat, drink, smoke, all of that sort of stuff. And I'm not here to preach to anybody saying what is right or wrong. That's not the purpose, but just maybe have you think about things and, you know, maybe do some things differently for your own benefit if you find something that touches you and motivates you. I do think it's funny. There's a gentleman here, a black gentleman, who, when I was transferred from the ICU to this room, the nurse who was bringing me in was a white woman. And she was like, I couldn't remember exactly which room he's supposed to be in. And he goes, it was 340, like 40 ounce. And I found that to be the funniest thing. It just completely was just laughing at that. Now, of course, you know, I don't know if she actually got the reference, but I definitely did. And I just thought it was funny. But also kind of something that's intriguing and interesting as far as, you know, in our community or in the black community. Anyway, I think I've gone on long enough for this episode. Expect more. I thank you all for, again, watching and sending positive energy and praying for me and all of that sort of stuff, and those who have done more by sending things and all. I really, really appreciate all of it, because I know you didn't have to do it. So it makes me feel really honored and special that you guys took time out to say what you said and do what you did. So thank you, love you all, and we'll chat soon.